You're listening to Darling Shine, a podcast by Ellidy Pullin and myself, Chloe Fisher.
Darling Shine is your survival kit to the unexpected shit life throws at you.
This episode is brought to you by Esmi Skin Minerals. We always rave about their skin treats range, but if you haven't already, you must get your hands on a mask from their masks range. These vegan and cruelty-free masks are full of amazing ingredients to give your skin a boost, leaving you feeling fresh and glowing. I'm a sucker for the hyaluronic acid, so naturally their hyaluronic hydrating booster mask is my go-to.
Yes, sis, we do love a little bit of hyaluronic on our face. I've been searching for anything that will brighten up my skin lately as I've had a bit on and I'm really feeling it. I've been using the Brightening Silky Booster Mask, and I also really love that their booster masks are all pregnancy and breastfeeding safe. So Minnie is a fan too. Don't forget to use code DARLINGSHINE for 15% off site-wide. This excludes gift cards and limited edition items. Code is valid till the 20th of April 2022. Hello, darlings. Chlo, I'm so sorry. You tell us what's going on. You talk to us today.
Yeah, far out. Who would have friggin' thought that here we are, recording another episode on miscarriage. It's so weird because, like, when I found out that I was having a baby, it's funny because we obviously carve in these, like, really exciting announcement episodes and all that sort of stuff for the season, and we got fucking close this time round to actually having an announcement episode for you guys. But it's funny because I had this – I'll go into it from the start, but I just want to say that, you know, at the very beginning I was so positive and I really felt I really had a great gut feeling about this one. But it's funny because towards the end, before I had this miscarriage, I started feeling something different and I got this weird gut feeling that something was going to happen, and I started freaking out. And I even said to Britt, I was like, we got to get rid of that wording in that Chloe announcement episode. Like, I just actually can't see it in our planner. Like, I feel like it puts, I don't know, I just can't have it in there. Like, I know everything's going to be good and everything's all fine, but like, let's just not have that. Like, let's just have that as a blank ep, and, you know, if whatever happens, happens. And then literally a week later I had a miscarriage, and it's just so weird because you plan everything, and like, I'm so love the little apps and like everything that you can track everything, and like the size and the dates and like everything. And I just feel like I have such a different perspective of all this right now, because I'm really afraid of it, and I just don't think, I don't know, moving forward, it's just like, it's scary, the thought of like even doing any of that, because it's just like I can see how fast things can get ripped out from underneath you. Anyway, if you guys haven't noticed already, if you don't watch us on YouTube, you'll notice that I'm not in Sydney. Oh, no, I'm definitely not in Sydney. Fuck, my brain doesn't.
She had to get away.
I'm not on the Gold Coast. I'm actually at our place in LA. I escaped as soon as I possibly could. I needed a bit of a shake up. Yeah, I had to get out.
It's the best thing to do.
So I'm here. We'll go into what the go is and my plan is a little bit later on, but I thought that, and I do have notes because I literally don't even know what happened yesterday, let alone what happened at the start of this whole debacle. So let's go from the beginning. So
start from the top.
And I have to apologize because I did lie to you in our welcome episode. I bluffed, and it's funny because Ellidy and I had to re-record the bit a few times because I was just lying through my teeth about like the egg testing and stuff, and I could not say it with a straight face. I was like, I'm lying to our listeners, like how like this is so bad, but
so I just many people were asking.
Yeah, I just really felt that I needed to keep this one, again, going back to the unknown. I really just wanted to keep this one a secret to as many people as I possibly could, just to protect myself. And that goes with like all of our friends as well. There was only a handful and a few people that actually knew that I had transferred. Even some of my best friends, I had given them the narrative of I am getting the embryos tested, like some of my best mates. So I
You definitely
apologized.
did this. Sorry, you definitely did this different this time. This whole, like, you just had a
Yeah.
completely different mindset. And I think the whole time I was personally thinking, wow, she's so different this time. I think we're on here. And I think subconsciously you were a little bit like that, but deep down, I
Yeah.
think you towards the
Yeah.
end felt something was up.
Yeah. So I know we've spoken about exactly what I collected and everything like that in that first round, in that round that I did when I came home, but I thought that we'd go back and we'd just cover it again. So I obviously stayed at home over the Christmas and New Year's period. I knew that I was going to do a round of IVF, which you guys were well aware of, with my fertility doctor, Dr. Keung on the Gold Coast. So I decided to stay there. I hadn't drunk since New Year's Eve. So I was pretty like I knew that I really wanted to give this round my best shot. So it was round 4. And I also had my wrist issue as well. So on the Monday, the 17th of January, we started this 4th round of IVF with Dr. Ung. We decided to do a different protocol that I've done previously and replicate the protocol that I did in the States late last year because I had the best result that I've had so far with the round that I did over there. And those 2 embryos that I have here in LA are still on ice and they're genetically tested. They're both normal and they're both graded. So they'll just sit tight in that little freezer until I'm ready to use them over here. But so I started the rounds of IVF on the Monday. On the Friday, I got the call up to say I could have my wrist done. And my doctor said that it was actually fine to do the IVF needles and everything through the wrist surgery, and it's not going to affect anything, which I don't think it did. I was just in a bit of pain. So then Thursday, the 27th of January, I had egg collection day. We collected 7 eggs. 5 of them will mature that afternoon, and they inseminated 5 with Paul's sperm. 3 of them then survived the first night, and we had the 3 that lasted all the way along to day 4, and we lost 1 on day 4, and 2 of them were day 5 embryos, which were blastocyst. 1 was actually a hatching blastocyst, which means basically they're in their shell until just before, they keep on developing, and the cells just keep on compacting and combining, and the hatching is the very last stage. And I've actually never had a hatching embryo before, and so when I saw this one, I was like, oh my god, this one looks like the guy. So the way that it kind of went down was, and the way that I decided, and the reason why I decided to do a transfer was because when I spoke to the embryologist here in Australia, where I had one embryo from the very first time I'd ever done a round of IVF. I had 1 in the freezer. This one was also untested. And when I say untested, it means genetically tested. So basically when you do a collection, you can use the embryos as an untested embryo, and that's totally fine. They might be really great grades. They might not be so great grades, but the grading doesn't really matter too much. A lot of people say that this is just like a beauty contest. So some people can have success with really bad grades. And others, like me, can not have success with really great grades. So basically I asked them what was the grade of this one that I had frozen, and it was a C grade. And so I was like umming and ahhing the whole way through while I was waiting to see what I made to the end this time around. And I was going to make the decision sort of basically on the day of what I was going to do. And I was always going to transfer I was always going to have a transfer, let's put it this way. Whether I was going to use the one in the freezer or use the ones that I collected, I was always going to do it, and I wasn't going to tell anyone. But by the end of day 5, and I had those 2 little embryos that were blastocyst, I said, I'm just going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to decide what I want to do. Because at that point, I was still going to genetically test these ones that lasted all the way to the end, because basically when you do the genetic testing, they can be abnormal or they can be normal. And if they're abnormal, you're actually going to miscarry those. So it's kind of like one step further. But anyway, so I had actually a grade A one that got to the end and a grade B one that got to the end. So that kind of put me in a position where I was like, far out. I've got 2 really good ones. I also have a C grade one frozen. You know what? if this time round works when I do a transfer, why would I not put my best foot forward? And I know I just said that it's a beauty contest with the grading, but like I was like, why would I not use a grade A one? If it works, that's amazing. I've got one beautiful baby. I'm so happy with that. And then I've got my 2 embryos in America. Then I have 2 more. Like, why would I use a C grade one now when I've got the opportunity to use an A grade one? So
it's such a catch-22, that like conflict in your head.
So I was just kind of going by my gut feeling. I spoke to the embryologist that morning and I said to her, like, tell me, what would you do in this scenario? And I know they hate giving like they don't like giving their opinions because, you know, things can't work and it's just not, they just don't want to do that. But I had this really beautiful woman, I can't remember her name, and she was like, I said, look, if I was your daughter, what would you be recommending here? Tell me your honest truth. And she said, I'd be putting that grade A1 in there. Like, this is a perfectly great looking embryo. It's actually hatching already. Like, use that. Like, if this doesn't work, like I've been doing this job for 25 years. And if this one doesn't work, I'd be so surprised. So I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm doing it. And then even in the week lead up to the transfer, I kept on asking, and I feel like recently I'm very not in tune to the universe, but I really trust in the universe. I know that sounds so lame, but I really do trust in the universe. And I was really asking for a lot of signs, you could say. And I always ask for rainbows. I love rainbows. Obviously, it's linked to having rainbow babies after like all this trauma and shit like that. So I was always asking for rainbows, but I was also asking for feathers. I don't know. I just felt like I needed to see some feathers this time around.
White feathers.
Anyway, I don't know. I just was like, you know, I've got 11, I have rainbows, but let's just change it up this time. And I just felt like I was drawn to feathers. Anyway, my mum was up at the time because Paul was away, and she was getting her hair done this one day, and she knew about all this feather stuff, and she was sitting out the front of the hairdresser before she got her hair done, and she was like, oh, you know, talking to this couple. My mum will literally talk to anyone that sits next to her.
Oh, God,
and she was talking to this couple and kind of telling them like what, to an extent, what was going on, because I've like had very deep discussions with my mum about keeping her mouth shut, because she's known, you know, she's had a few chances of like each
can't help herself.
Had 3 miscarriages now, and she's nearly learnt not to talk about it to people. But
we're getting there.
So Mum was talking to this couple under this tree, and she was telling her how she really she's looking for feathers, and like, you know, her daughter's going through this and we want some positivity and like, you know, some signs. Anyway, she got up and she went to the hairdresser, and she was sitting at the hairdresser getting a hair washed or whatever. And this couple walks into the hair salon and was just like, and they're like, hey, you know, can I help you? And they're like, oh, I just want to see this woman. When she left, this feather fell out of this tree and landed where she was sitting, and we just felt like we needed to give her this feather. So it was really cute, and Mum was so excited when she showed me. And I actually still have that feather, and it's in an envelope where I have like the little photo of the embryo and the pregnancy test and everything like that. So,
oh my God.
And then I found another feather, I think, is like there was just so many signs and so many, you know, things leading to like, you know, you've made the right decision. And I really felt that. That night we went to dinner, like I saw a beautiful rainbow from out my balcony at my house. And, you know, it kind of, it was that was all around transfer day. And even that when I did the transfer, even the embryologist that was saying to me, like, you know, this is a really good one. Like they were all in there. It was so funny. They were all in the room and they were like cheering, and we were just, you know, I was like, yes, we're on here. And then a few days after the transfer, like I've started sort of journaling in books. I've got so many books around the place that I've just got like bits and pieces, because I honestly, I refuse to purchase any of those baby journals anymore. I did the first 2 pregnancies, and I've miscarried those 2 pregnancies, and I just couldn't bring myself to actually starting another one of those books and only being able to write in 2 pages. So I was like, you know what? that's not happening this time. I'm just going to write them in random books, like my journey and my dates. And, you know, if it's successful, then I will buy a book and I'll transfer it all over. But like, I just feel like that. I was just like, no, I'm not even going to go there this time
You
around.
feel like you're going to jinx it, don't you?
Yeah. So I like, you know, I kind of started writing, and I think it was like a few days after transfer, I wrote like feeling amazing, happy, healthy. I'm feeling motivated. Like I felt so good. And I feel like, you know, obviously I hadn't found out if I was pregnant or not at that point, but I just really felt amazing.
And you were glowing. You looked amazing and you were happy.
Oh, thanks.
And
Yeah, I was so happy. And then, oh, fuck, I feel like I'm going to cry now. And you just like you saying nice words. I don't know. That was
you were.
triggering.
I know.
So then that was on the Thursday. And then by the Sunday, I kind of, I started like the positivity kind of shifted a little bit in my mind. This was only 5 days past the transfer day. And I started getting on Dr. Google and, you know, just looking up all
Dr.
random
Google.
shit. Yeah.
How can you not, though? Your mind just ticks, eh? Like I think everyone.
I think it's just like every time I had like symptoms or signs or anything like that, I look it up.
Yeah.
And I literally, you know what I was looking up this time, like when can you test on after a transfer? I know.
Even though you know the answer.
I know the answer. But anyway, some people like 5 days passed, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to do a test. I haven't even told you this yet. So anyway, I did a test. I did a test on 5 days, and then it was honestly the fucking faintest line I've ever seen in my, like it was not a line, but like, you know, people that know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but like it was pushing it. Like it was really pushing it. So
everyone does this.
Like, but then you kind of go like it's negative and you know, you're back and forth. And honestly, like if anyone knows what I'm talking about, you bring this stick, you bring it outside, you look at it in a different light. You're looking at everywhere around the house. You're like, you're really trying to see this line. I think I got it out of the bin like 4 times because I thought it was like negative.
And you ask everyone around you.
I didn't even have anyone around me at that point because Paul was away, but I really did. I honestly got this test in and out of the bin like 4 times just to like see if anything was changing. But anyway, so I kind of that really kind of was like, okay, this isn't happening. Like this isn't I should have a line by now. And then, but that was on the Sunday. By the Thursday, I had a bleed in the middle of the night. And I was like, here we go. And that's sort of roughly when my period was due, and it was like fresh blood. And I was just like, fuck, here we go again. I messaged Dr. Ung and he was like, just do a test. Let's do a test, go and get, you know, your bloods done and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I did a test and it was like the most positive thing ever. Like it was just ping straight away. So I was like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. Like, but... And then I went and had my bloods. My bloods looked great. My progesterone was good. My HCG levels were good. This was 8 days after. So I still wasn't meant to even have this test until like another 2 days down the track. But you obviously you just get like an absolute sigh of relief. But for me, I was concerned because I was bleeding. And I know what happened when I had my last miscarriage. I bled. So I like instantly as soon as I see blood, I'm like triggered, you know. And then on the Wednesday, I started having intralipids, and this is an addition to what I did last time. So basically, I had my I got tested for natural killer cells, which means your body's immune system actually attacks embryos if you were positive. But I actually was negative to this test, which I was convinced I was going to be positive. However, usually when people have this and their immune systems are killing off embryos, they have this thing called intralipids, and you go into the day surgery and you have a cannula put in, and they basically put this stuff in you that's you know, it's like an immunity and it helps fight off any bad cells that are going to attack the embryos. So I was like, you know what, can't hurt, let's do this. So I went in on the Wednesday, I had this done, feeling great. All the nurses, because I go into this day surgery bloody way too often for everything, and they were all so excited to see me. You know, it was amazing. That was on the Wednesday. Then by the Friday, I literally woke up in the middle of the night with proper bleeding again. And I was just like, oh my God, this is all over like a 2-week period, and it's literally day by day, up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's just like, how much can one person take? It's just insane. And I messaged Dr. Ong and I was like, I'm bleeding. Like, what do I do? I honestly, I woke up in the middle of the night, like bawling my eyes out, because that's when I had this bleed and Paul was away and I vomited. And for me to vomit is huge. Like, I don't even vomit ever. And then I went straight in to see Dr. Ong and he was like, there's a heartbeat. There's actually two. There's two in there. So I was like, what the hell? And he's like, but there's a lot of internal bleeding. And for me, instantly, I'm like, fuck, this is not good, sort of thing. So I was then put on bed rest, and I was on bed rest for 7 days, I think. The bleeding was like it was like kind of a big bleed, and then I saw the heartbeat, so I was like feeling good, and then I had another bleed, and I went back in, and then we saw the heartbeats, and so I was positive, but I was also like, there's something going on here. Each time that I went to have the ultrasounds with Dr. Ong, the bleeding was subsiding. So I was thinking that the bed rest was really helping. But I was still bleeding, like spotting. It was sort of like dark, which I was stoked about because I know that it wasn't active bleeding. And then, I kept on, like, we literally had heartbeat right up until I think I went in with Paul on the 9th of March, which was Wednesday, the 9th of March. And honestly, this this ultrasound I was going in I was so positive. It was like the least stressful one I had because I was like, I haven't really been bleeding for like the last 5 days. I've been feeling really rough. Like, we're good here. And we sat down. I was so grateful to have Paul with me. Sat down, and then Dr. Ong's like kind of looking in there, and I just saw his face, and it was just like it kind of dropped. And I was like, "What's going on?" And he was just like, he literally was like, "Fuck, fuck, fuck, fuck. It's not looking good." And I was like, "What do you mean it's not looking good?" And he was like, he's just like, I just can't see a heartbeat. And I just like, I looked at Paul and I was like, no, this isn't happening again. Please, no. And then Dr. Ong was like, I want you to go and have like a secondary ultrasound, like a proper ultrasound for women, just so they can like really just have a little look in there, see if we can see, anything else. I still had like a tiny bit of hope. I don't know why, but I just still was just like, maybe his machines are like not up to scratch. Sorry, no offense. But I was like,
double check it with this other ultrasound.
So
you're just like hanging on.
I went into this other ultrasound straight away, and for a start, it was just like there was other women in the bloody waiting room who were fully pregnant, like proper pregnant.
No.
Husband and wives coming out of the rooms, like looking at their photos of their baby, their babies, and like people are going like, good luck with the birth, all this stuff. And I was literally just sitting there shaking, and I looked at Paul and he's like, it's okay. Like, and I'm thinking, hurry the fuck up. Like, get me in this room and get me away from these people. And I know that sounds really insensitive, but like when you've been there, you'll understand what I mean. It is the most horrific, like traumatizing experience of the whole situation.
There needs to be a separate waiting room for people who are losing babies.
Well, I guess so. Then I got brought into the ultrasound room, and I was like obviously in tears, and I spoke to the lady. I'm like, that's just so wrong. And she's like, I'm so sorry. You should have been put in this other room. Like, you're not meant to, like, you're not actually meant to be in the same room as these people. Like, I'm so sorry. And then she obviously knew what was going on because she had spoken to Dr. Ong, and then so we like sat down and we brought the ultrasound, and like immediately, like I immediately saw the twins, and that was just like enough for me to be like, what the actual fuck is happening to me?
There was two as well.
But I had never really seen them both in there. Like, I knew that there was twins, but we kind of like thought that one had gone, and I don't know why that I thought that it had just like disappeared and been absorbed or something, but it like they were like both right next to each other and they were both right there, and I was just like, wow.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, it was so sad. And I even just was looking at Paul and he was just so devastated, and like it was just, I don't
I've
know. I
never
feel
seen
like you like take so many steps forward, and like I was 8 weeks that day. But then like this happens and you're like, oh my God, like what is going on? I'm just so confused. Why is this happening over and over again? And it's funny because like I always was like, I'm going to have twins. I always thought that I was going to have twins. I always said it like I just had a gut feeling, and like I just, and like for me to get that from like only one embryo being transferred, it's like less than 3% that's even happens.
those were your twins. You knew you were going to have twins.
Yeah,
and you
so
saw
I
them.
then went back, have to go back to Dr. Ong, and we like looked at it, and he was just like, look, I know that you want more answers and you're so confused right now, but he was like, everything points to the reason why you've lost these babies is because basically they were sharing a placenta and they were in the same sac. There's a word for it. It's something like mosaic or something like that. So he's just like, there's no other reason for this loss. And he's like, I know that you're sick of hearing you're just unlucky, but like this was actually completely out of your control. This has got nothing to do with your body. This has got if that embryo didn't split, you were on. It just fucking split, and it didn't like it. People can go on to have pregnancies that share the same placenta, but because we lost a twin earlier on, it wasn't like they were both in there with 2 heartbeats at like throughout the whole time. I knew that we had lost one maybe a week before. A quick word from today's sponsor. Esmi Skin Minerals are literally my skin savior after this hot and humid summer. Hydration, hydration, hydration is key. They have 6 different booster masks that address various concerns, and if you are unsure which one is right for you, just head to their website and speak to one of their free qualified skin consultants.
True that. I'm finding myself a little bit time poor lately, so these masks are a game changer, and I love that they come in nice big tubs so they last forever. Do not forget to use the code DarlingShine for 15% off site-wide. We will leave the link in our show notes. The code is valid till the 20th of April 2022.
So basically he said that what happens there is when you lose one and when they're sharing the same sac and when they're sharing the same placenta, it's very common for you to lose the other one because it creates this toxic environment and it's just impossible for them to survive.
And then
so,
I guess if one has to be like carried out, like as in it like falls out or whatever, it's
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So I then was like book me in for a DNC, which is a dilation and curette, basically immediately. I've never been one to, and it's up to each person has their different views on this, and however they want to do it is completely up to the woman. But I've always opted to have a DNC where you go into the day surgery, you get put under anesthetic, and they go in and they will basically scrape it out. And someone fucking said to me as well, we'll send the product off. And like we've spoken about this before, and I'm like, oh my God, they were my
That's
twins.
your kid. They're your babies.
They're not a product. But they go in, they scrape it, and then they suction everything out. And to me, I prefer it that way because I know that my uterus is cleaned out and it's fresh and there's no remnants left in there, and I just feel a little bit better having it that way. I got that done last Thursday, and now I basically, like, I've had so much support from people. Like, you have no idea. Basically, when it first happened, Paul was meant to go over and play overseas, but he pulled the pin on those 2 shows, and he posted on his Instagram story like the reason. And I'm so proud of him for doing that because, like, you know, so many people suffer miscarriages in silence, and it's actually not just the women as well, it's the men
Yes.
too. Like, and I feel like a failure for him as well
No.
because I can't do this.
I've
But
never seen fish so affected.
because
Like, I'm
it's
always with you, looking after you, and like you're really going through it. And often fish is like, you know, doing it silently, but it was just
yeah,
fucking
I just
heartbreaking.
yeah. So like I don't know. I just kept on saying like I'm so sorry, like yeah, because I know how bad he
No.
wants this as well. Um,
And
So
like you
he
get,
he was like, I'm just going to say that I've had a family matter. I'm like, no, tell the truth. Like, acknowledge
yeah,
these twins, acknowledge this baby.
and
People
their
will have so
lives.
much respect for you for doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and I haven't been on social media the last week either. I just like, for me, I know I'm vocal about it on this podcast, but I feel when I have these sort of losses, like for me personally, I actually have to have this like sort of detox from social media and from posting. I just it's my way of grieving, and like I don't feel like there's any place for me to be posting about stuff that is not in relation to this loss. And I feel like for me, I'm pushing it aside if I was to do that, and I really need to sit in this, and I need to
You need
process
to
my
allow
grief
your,
by not trying to push it away. Like I actually
mm,
find it helps me being in this moment for now. And like, you know, obviously I'll come back when I feel like I'm ready, but just from resharing that message that he put on Instagram, honestly, I've never had an outreach of people like it, and I
oh,
am so grateful from the bottom of my heart from all these, you know, strangers. And I've got really amazing friends that write to me as well and like, you know, just send me message. Like I haven't had the energy to even respond to one person, not even my friends and some of my family. Like I just can't do that right this second. But I think I had more than like 6,000 strangers write to me into my inbox because I can see that through on like my Instagram story how many people replied to it. And mate, I like I'm speechless, and it is just so. I'm really comforted by that, and I see it, and like I'm so grateful, and like to all my friends and my family who are constantly, you know, even a week after it, like now I'm getting messages from some friends that aren't even like my best friends,
yeah.
messaging me going, you know, just thinking of just know that I'm thinking of you, you know.
I'm
And
so proud of you, Chlo. Like, you can be so fucking heartbroken and then still get on and just be such an advocate for loss. And although you have to do the initial parts in silence, like you do get on here and you do talk about it. And there's so many people that would never or don't have the platform to, and you are speaking to them and like making them feel so heard and seen, and like they then don't feel alone. And you're saying there's 6,000 people that have written to you. Imagine the millions. Like there's thousands that don't have the words that are
yeah,
also going through it that you've just helped. Like you've got no idea the power
like
that you have and the amount of people that you've helped. And
miscarriage is just so crazy. Like no one, yeah, like it is so common, and I just feel it's so traumatizing to someone's soul. Like honestly, it's just like oh it. And especially to have it, I'm like not downplaying anyone that's just had one miscarriage, but just like I'm saying for people that have also had recurrent miscarriages like myself, it's just like hit after hit after hit. And like I honestly, and I probably can speak for a lot of people, is like
yeah,
I feel like I've been completely stripped from my innocence of feeling the like pregnant. Like I don't think moving forward I'm ever going to be able to. I often
no,
think about friends and other people that are falling pregnant just naturally or, you know, accidentally and all this stuff. And the joy and like the excitement and the happiness that that brings. And, you know, you can watch from afar and you can see people and you can really see it in their face and in their gestures and how you can be so naive, I don't know what the word
Totally.
is, like,
Oh, well, if you
just,
haven't,
yeah,
well,
I
they don't know the feeling, so they don't feel the need to be afraid at all. Like, I
yeah,
think every
exactly.
pregnancy you can be a little bit scared, but it's a whole nother level. When you're going through IVF, or like you've had multiple miscarriages now, Chlo, and like especially when you get told you're getting a grade A embryo put in, and you just want to be so helpful but hopeful, and you're getting so far. Like, you were like the furthest you'd been, you were 8 weeks with this one, and you're just like, fuck, I'm nearly there. And then do you know what else? You have no answers. You continually keep having these miscarriages, and then no answers when you're told you have like grade A embryos put in. So you can't help but feel like you're fucking terrified. You're so scared to be
Yeah.
pregnant. And I'll tell you right now, when you do pass the 12-week fate, or when you do pass 12 weeks and you are pregnant and you really do feel like you're having a baby, you're going to be fucking shitting yourself every day. Like, I think anyone that does IVF is still going to be shitting themselves. So many people listening know that feeling, like you'll feel glimpses of happiness and excitement, but you're scared to even let them in. And it's so sad.
Yeah.
But and there's no buts. You just, I can't even believe you just still don't have answers. Like, I know that right now you
Well, I
might be
mean,
feeling
this one we do have we do have an answer, and it was the twin problem. But in
mosaic.
saying that, I still, like, it's still questionable deep down in my mind that there's something more underlying. And I have done most tests under the sun, but you still are like, well, is there something that's, all linked to this, or am I really actually just unlucky? You can't be that fucking unlucky.
So right now, what do you want to do? Do you want to do any more tests on your body, on your stomach, on your uterus, to see if there's anything going on? Or are you
Well,
do just want to do another transfer? Like, where are we at?
Well, right now, I think, last week we did some more blood test to see if there's a thing called DQ. It's like a genetic matching thing. And basically, if if Paul and I come back with these matching tests, and please excuse me if I'm not explaining this right at all, because it's actually new to me. I haven't really researched it yet. But from what I understand and what I've been told, it's like basically like we're like perfect matches in human beings. And if this is the case, we're like too much of a match. And basically, I believe that, like, if you are this match, then you go down, you see this other doctor, and basically you do these like blood things where they take Paul's blood and they put it in me. So like it like kind of like teaches
Whoa.
your immune systems to like be like matched, or like your cells to match up more before they do a transfer, sort of thing. That is
Whoa.
probably wrong, so don't quote me on that,
won't.
but it's something along the lines of that.
That sounds wild. I'd love to do some
But
research on that.
but yeah, so we're kind of wait for that. We've sent the babies off to get tested. You know what? It might come back that they're actually genetically abnormal. And if that is the case, this was always going to happen, and this has got nothing to do with me, because I didn't get them tested.
Yeah.
But in saying this, and I just want to tell you, is when you get your embryos tested, it actually takes quite a few weeks. So you can't go on to do a transfer straight away. You kind of lose a month or so. So I was just like, I'm not wasting time here. That's why
Sick of
I
wasting
didn't do
time.
the genetic testing. But when you're young, genetic testing is something usually that people do when they're older and they're doing IVF. Whereas when you're young and you're like me, like I've had all my embryos tested so far that I've had miscarriages with, and they've actually been normal. So I was like, had that confidence in myself that like, okay, I might not have many eggs and my egg count might be low, but what I'm getting to the end, these are actually genetically normal embryos. So I'm actually going to stay in LA for a few weeks now. Paul's playing a big show in Miami this week, and I'm going to stay around maybe until the beginning of April, and then I will come home to Australia, and then I'm going to reevaluate everything.
Yeah.
I'm kind of keeping in mind as well, the Europe season starts soon, and we are due to – it's just annoying because this little pregnancy was so perfect in every single way with timing wise. Like I was going to be able to be 12 weeks and I was going to be able to go to Europe and be based in Ibiza. I wasn't going to do all the traveling, but like at least we lived there together until I had to come back and I couldn't travel any longer. But so I don't know. We're due to go there end of May, early June-ish. So I'm just going to see. I'm going to see how I'm feeling. I probably won't share on here when I make a full decision of what I'm going to do, just because so many people, I find it actually is getting harder to be explaining to people where I'm at and what stage I'm at and stuff like that. Like I'd rather just come on here and surprise you guys and be like, hey, I'm pregnant, rather than following it every step of the way, because it is really triggering and it's really traumatizing. And like it was kind of like not fun and games at the start, I'd like to say. I really didn't think that I would be in this position nearly 2.5 years later and talking about having my third miscarriage. I really didn't believe that. So now I'm here. I think that the journey to follow, I will keep that probably private until I have either good or bad news. Hopefully no more bad news. But yeah, I just really wanted to say I appreciate every single one of you, our listeners, our followers, like the support that you guys constantly write to Ellidy and I, and not just in my situation, but like also to Ellidy as well. Like it doesn't go unnoticed. Like you guys, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here doing this, because we really want to help people who are going through these sort of things in silence. That really brings a little bit of light to our lives.
And just keep it so raw and vulnerable. And like I can't help but like I know, like we were both pregnant at the same time last time you had your miscarriage, and we were like taking photos together, we were getting our little bump shots, we were planning everything. And like so many people that have miscarriages do the same things with their friends, and then they see their friends go and have their bubs, and like I hate that.
I'm done with that now as well. We actually did that this time around too. And with another girlfriend of ours who's also pregnant, and I absolutely fucking refuse to take any more photos. That's another thing. Like, you do your weekly photos, and it kind of like to the end, I was like, I don't know, am I jinxing myself? And our friend who takes photos for Ellidy and I, Hannah, before I left on this, maybe like 2 weeks ago, when she was taking some photos of us for International Women's Day, she's like, let's take a photo of you and Paul on the bump. And I'm like, I weirdly, did I not say, like, I was like, you know what?
You didn't,
I don't want to take this photo. I feel weird about it. And even though I was 7.5 weeks and I should have been like, I actually am still really bloated. So like there would have been a little, I can't say that the bump was from the babies, but like I was definitely bloated because I was using quite a lot of progesterone. So there would have been something there, but I just in my gut was like, nah, I can't do the photo things because like I can't go. The thought of going back and looking at that photo right now, I just can't. So
you did have a moment of pure excitement, and you just look stunning, and we were at the beach and we took these beautiful photos, and I just hope that one day when you're holding your bub, like you can look back and just be so proud of that woman that kept getting back up and kept keep getting knocked down, you keep fucking standing up and going again and again and again. And like I know that lots of people listening have this same question probably lingering in their heads, because I even get asked this. Like people ask me what you're going to do, and people say to me, would Chlo and Fish ever consider an egg donor or a surrogate? And like, I'd totally be your surrogate. I know the answer to this question, but people definitely ask. So what do you think?
Well, we've definitely touched on it like ages ago, but if I've got two sisters, so I feel like if I did the thing is the eggs aren't like, I don't think the eggs are actually really an issue right now, because like I said, they've been like the ones that we've lost have actually been genetically normal. I'm still able to get 1 or 2 out each time, and like you only need 1. So at this point, and Paul's semen's fine. Like at this point on the sperm and egg side, like I'm confident that we can have our own baby.
Same.
On the surrogate side, and like this is a real weird, like it's obviously not that weird, but like part of this the journey to motherhood, like I I want to hold a baby. And when I say hold a baby, I mean carry a baby. And for me, just to have a belly is like one of the most exciting things in the world to me. And loving and nurturing and like, you know, really living through that 9 months with that baby inside, and also birthing, you know, obviously things can go fucking like not to plan at all, but like I'm really, really excited to have that experience of childbirth. And like, there's not one part of me that's afraid. And I feel like if I can actually get through to that point, I can do actually anything. Like, honestly, I feel
Fucking
like
oath you can.
I can do anything. And I'm, I, it's not like I haven't like been able to fall pregnant. I've actually fallen pregnant 3 times now. So I don't think I'm at the stage of talking surrogacy yet. Like I honestly believe deep down I will have a baby, and there is 99.9% of me believes that. And I'm not like I'm look, in the scheme of things, I've done 4 rounds of IVF. I'm by no means done at all.
Yeah.
I have 2 embryos here in LA. I have 2 embryos in Australia. When I do another round, I probably will do another round of IVF if I before I, just to see if I can bank more. So at this stage, like, I'm going to give it a go until I have no embryos left for a start. So it's just like, you know,
absolutely.
it's definitely not out of the question. If it comes to that, it comes to that. It breaks my heart, but of course, like, I will do anything to have a baby. I'm not going to settle for not. Like, I will have a child in one way or another. But I think that I think I'm confident. I really am confident that I'll be able to do this myself.
That is definitely a long way down the track, the surrogate or the egg donor chat. I know that as well, but I know that's on a lot of people's tongues. I completely believe that you will have your own baby and that you will carry your own baby 100%. I can just see that like in my head for sure. I'm just so freaking proud of you for talking about this, Chlo. Today's episode, we are going to give a portion of our earnings to the Pink Elephant Foundation, because 1 in 4 people will go through what you're going through, Chlo. And I mean, we know we just bloody hear it every single day, the amount of people struggling with this, and they do it while they're working, and they're paying for IVF, and they're trying to pay their bills. They're not getting, they're having miscarriages and they're not getting any leave time. So they're having to go and somehow grieve and work at the same time and then earn that money and then do IVF again. They're getting no time off. They're like having to take half days to go and get transfers done and then go back to the office and things. Like, it's horrible. And the Pink Elephant Foundation is working super hard. And I think there's definitely changes being made in the past year in the workplaces to provide paid leave for people going through miscarriage and IVF. And like, a lot of pregnancies are not recognized as pregnancies until after 20 weeks. And there's literally little humans in us before 20 weeks. As soon as you're pregnant, there's a little soul inside you. So we'd love to raise some money for the Pink Elephant Foundation. We will be putting a portion of our earnings, and we'll set up a GoFundMe page for anyone that also wants to donate with us to this beautiful foundation this week.
We're really passionate about spreading the word here and breaking the stigma, and what the Pink Elephant Foundation do. I'm really proud to be a spokesperson for the topic, and those women work tirelessly to support women who are going through what I'm going through. And we take our hats off to them, and we're really excited to see what they can do with supporting women and miscarriage in the workplace, because I do 100% believe that women should be able to have paid leave when they go through this, because pregnancy is one thing, but miscarriage and the trauma and PTSD and everything associated with miscarriage, it's real and it does not get recognized. So I'm really, really thankful for the Pink Elephant Foundation, and I'm stoked that we can put some money towards that, and we hope that you guys can too.
Yeah, and we'll post on our stories and on our Instagram, and we'll put the link in the show notes to the GoFundMe page. I just love you so much, Chloe, and I'm so proud of you. I just have absolutely no words for your strength. You are fucking strong, that's for sure.
Thank
Wow.
you. And I just want to give a shout out to all the women as well who are going through miscarriages. Like, right, every day women go through this, and honestly, it's so horrific. And I feel you, I see you, and I spent the whole last week in bed, could not even come out of the house. Like, it's okay to do that. Like, go through, feel the feels, and just, you will be able to rise again. I promise. Like, honestly, it's not, you'll never forget about it, but like, this too, this too shall pass. They say that, and you will build up your strength again. I promise you that. And we love you guys all, and thank you so much for letting us have this space to talk about this. And we will continue to push on.
We will. We love you, Chloe, so much. I know that Chumpy is up there looking after your two twins and those other bubbies that are now up there too with him.
Oh, I still can't believe he's not even bloody here.
He's got a little family of bubbies up there. He's got his hands full.
He's got his hands bloody full. He's got 4 Fisher kids. That's hectic.
That's
your dad.
Handful.
Heaven is
hopefully
busy.
Dad's helping.
Heaven is friggin' busy at the moment. Holy shit.
Heaven's
I hope
just
they've got a
become an
daycare
epic.
set up.
Yeah, hopefully there's some daycare up there. There would be, God, and it's getting better up there because so many epic, amazing people are going there.
I don't even know why I'm laughing. Like, honestly, what the fuck?
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yeah.
That's literally.
No, I love you.
I love you so much, Chloe.
Welcome to our Asking for a Friend segment.
Yes, asking for a friend. You ask, we tell, right here, right now. So if you have a question, you can head to the link in our bio on Instagram, or we'll put it in our show notes. Send us the questions and we will answer them for your ear holes. Okay, so this question today says, hi, I've never met either of you girls, but I feel like I know you because I sit in on all your conversations via podcast. I've laughed with you, I've cried with you, and I genuinely think of you often, but I don't know you. If I did ever meet you, I would probably have to stop myself from wanting to give you a hug because I think that must be weird for you. How weird is it when you have random people coming up to you acting like they know you and you have no idea who they are?
Well, I love it because people actually do just like kind of just, hey, how are you? And I'm like, yeah, good. How are you? What's your name again? Like, I just pretend I know them. And I love it when people come up and give me a hug. It's fucking great. Yeah. I don't want to be like some weird, I am by every single stretch as a completely normal fucking person. Like I'm definitely nothing special. And I just love, like, just come and sit down and have a wine with me if I'm out at lunch or something. Like, I just want to meet like-minded people, and I'm an absolute legend. So if you're a legend, just totally come up and hug me.
Yeah, I agree as well. More hugs should be given. I feel like it's spread the love, spread the kindness, because like this world is pretty fucking weird at the moment. But I'm all arms wide open. Also, everyone has a story, and if you feel like telling your story to us, let us know too, because we want you to be heard. And if you get the opportunity, definitely stop. We're not scary at all.
Fuck no. Oh my God. I'll probably be more scared of you. I love everyone, and I love it when people just randomly come over and be like, Ellidy, oh my gosh, I lost my boyfriend to cancer back when I was da-da-da, and like I'm still grieving and you've helped me. Or just like someone like literally sometimes a passing comment, like I'm walking through the markets and they'll just be like, oh my God, hi, I went through this and that and da-da-da and thank you, or something, like, or I listened to your podcast, and it's just like a walking past thing, and I'm just like, oh, woo, like thank you, or I love you, or I'm sorry, or and just like little passing fun little phrases. It's cute, and
it's so nice,
bringing people together.
I think it definitely makes me feel like I'm doing what we set out to do.
100%. Sometimes I definitely question like us.
We for sure question us. We're like, is this even like good? Are we
Oh,
kidding
like,
ourselves?
literally, Chloe's always like, let's do these live shows and and I'm like, who the fuck wants to come and see us? Literally, I cannot deal with the thought
Definitely
of
come
doing
and
that.
say hello to us. It validates what we're doing.
Okay, darlings. Goodbye. We love you and everyone.